threadbare. They need players in. They know they need players in.
To be honest, I stopped listening after that impression.
Oh, that's quite a good one.
Marc Guehi's future still remains a big talking point, with many of Europe's top clubs chasing the Crystal Palace captain. Today, Oliver Glasner was once again asked about his skipper's situation.
Will he be in the squad?
Yes, he will start.
He's going to start tomorrow. So I presume there's been no new bids or offers from anyone this season, and he's, as you said, on Wednesday.
Exactly.
I feel like we're going to be talking about Marc Guehi a lot. Where could he go?
In the Premier League, I think he could end up at Liverpool. He could end up at Manchester City. He could end up at Arsenal. Abroad, you're talking about clubs like Bayern Munich.
Are you talking in this window or are you talking in the summer?
Both. I think what's happening at the moment is that intermediaries, advisors are talking behind the scenes to try and get him on a free transfer in the summer. At the same time, I think what's happening is some clubs are trying to steal a march and get him this January, because I think they feel that there is a deal there to be done with Crystal Palace, because Crystal Palace don't want to lose him for nothing in the summer. Having said that, it would make sense for Crystal Palace to keep him, because losing him would potentially affect where they finish in the Premier League, which would affect how much money they get at the end of the season. It would also affect their form in Europe. If they win the conference in the next couple of weeks, a Premier League club will make a bid for him. And I think that bid will be somewhere between probably 20 and 30 million pounds. Remember, last summer, Palace were almost willing to sell him for 35 million pounds. But obviously, he's got less time left on his contract now. So he would be available for less than 35. But I think it's really interesting that clubs are sort of jockeying for position. But you've always got to remember, some clubs will try and get him now. Other clubs will be waiting until the summer. But at the end of the day, who can guess what's in his mind? It's up to him to decide which club he wants to go to, where he wants to live, who he wants to play for. And we've kind of seen this situation before, you know, when clubs like Liverpool, Manchester City, Manchester United, Arsenal get involved. A lot of it is to do with the personal connection. You know, if he ends up talking to those managers, what they sell to him, how they see his role in their team, and of course, the money. I don't think Marc is somebody who's motivated by money, but obviously the size of the contract will be a consideration as well.
What do you know Palace really well. What do you think their preference would be in this situation?
A few summers ago, we reported, was it 3 or 4 bids at Newcastle United, and that went up to nearly £70 million. Brendan Johnson had a meeting with Oliver Glasner about joining Crystal Palace. If I'm Brennan, I'd probably say to Oliver Glasner, well, what about me joining, are you staying? And if they lost Marc Guehi this month, it might just all but decide how Oliver Glasner feels, the ultra-ambitious Oliver Glasner. What I'd say about Palace is they get most things right and getting things wrong. That's why they're an established Premier League side. When people say, oh, they always finish 12th, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Because they end up winning a cup. They won the Community Shield. For me, Crystal Palace have got a great chance of winning the Conference League, another European trip, if Marc Guehi stays. Marc Guehi also is an ultra-religious man. He always looks at things and says everything happens for a reason. His behaviour last summer was impeccable. He scored at Aston Villa the night before deadline day for them to win for Palace at Aston Villa. You're dealing with a great human being, not just a great player. And that's what any club is going to get. He can just, he's not laughing, but he can relax. He can just enjoy his football at the moment. The only thing I'd say is he probably doesn't want it to go over to when he's got his England hat on for the World Cup. That's what I'd say. But for me, Crystal Palace are much better off with him rather than receiving £25 million now.
I'm being told that you know that there's a possibility